My guest today is Melinda Leslie, a researcher of ufology with over 30 years of experience investigating the contact phenomenon and the U.S. intelligence agency involvement with UFOs.
What is in the Wilson-Davis notes about there being crash retrievals, a reverse engineering program, existing craft in our possessions, I mean, that is absolutely explosive. In the UFO research community, we always knew the cover-up had become a corporate secret. If this is so, a congressional investigation has to happen.
What is the Wilson-Davis document?
Well, it's meeting notes from a meeting between Admiral Thomas Wilson and scientist Dr. Eric Davis. And it came about, so Dr. Davis apparently was taking notes during the meeting, or we're not sure, he may have recorded it, and then this is the transcript of this. But the discussion was specifically about Admiral Wilson had a briefing by the hands of veteran researcher in the field, Stephen Greer. And Stephen Greer went with Sherry Adamiak, his assistant at the time, Will Miller, another gentleman, and the late Dr. Edgar Mitchell, astronaut Edgar Mitchell. And they had said something to Wilson and given him a briefing on Greer's understanding that there were reverse engineering programs and technology being developed, meaning UFO reverse engineering, and technology being developed from materials and possible craft retrieved in crash retrievals by the U.S. government. Whatever, they got this meeting, and they shared this information with the Admiral, and he said, I don't know anything about this, I'm gonna look into it. What he did is, being in his position, he went to the guys that manage the SAP program, special access and unacknowledged special access programs, which allocate money, and give money to black projects and military development projects. And he went to them and he said, is this true? Is money going to these organizations and to the development by any aerospace companies to do this? And they basically said, yes, but we can't really talk about it. Ask these guys, put him in touch with folks at one of the major aerospace companies. We don't know for sure. It doesn't mention in the notes from the meeting the name of the aerospace company, but we have every reason to believe it's probably Lockheed, just from, it makes sense that that's probably the case. But regardless, he goes there, he meets with the people running the reverse engineering program at this aerospace company. And he basically says, I want to know what you're working on. They tell him what they can, but then they said, you're not read in on this. You don't have the clearance to know. And he said, well, wait a second. I'm the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
I'm J2.
Yeah, exactly. And whether you get the funding or not, depends on me and people under me. So, whether you guys get any of your military project funding from the government, it's up to me. And they basically said, nope, you're not in need to know. This is, and here's the rub, this is a corporate secret. In the UFO research community, we always knew that probably the cover-up had become a corporate secret. Well, this document helps, it's evidence in support of that. That yes, that these notes say this became a corporate secret. And it was even out of his hands to be able to find out about it. But I want to say for your viewers, the significance of the Wilson-Davis document, kind of the bottom line significance, is it's very much about the fact that there is crash retrievals, that they're being reverse engineered, that technology is being worked on by aerospace companies, that the approval process is through the SAP, Special Access Programs, and the unacknowledged Special Access Program, and that they're getting, for development of military technology funding. And so the UFO subject has become a corporate secret. The government let it out of their hands. And the importance of this document is it's meeting notes that suggests that whole thing, that it's a reverse engineering program, crash retrievals, that it's in the hands of corporate entities, and that someone as high up as Admiral Wilson couldn't have access to it.
Yeah, and there's no oversight.
Yeah, exactly.
And they felt that they didn't have to answer to anybody, including Admiral Wilson. And so to back up and to kind of summarize what we're talking about here, is you have the former Rear Admiral J2 in the back of a car having a conversation with Eric Davis behind the EG&G building in Las Vegas. EG&G, Josh, is the company that runs Janet Airlines that flies in the employees at Area 51. So here we are at the center of the UFO alien universe, Las Vegas, Area 51, and this conversation happens.
Yes.
Eric Davis wrote everything down and summarized in the notes.
And or recorded it.
And here's the thing, and this is where the notes themselves, this is not an official government document, so it's not a FOIA thing, and there's not a document number assigned to it. It's a direct recollection of this conversation.
That's right.
But there are names in this. And when you read the document itself, and there's a letter in there from Will Miller and some other things that would strongly suggest a huge cover-up, and that the public does not have a need to know about what's going on. And you can complain all you want, but we're in control of this and you are not.